with his coach doing gymnastics clinics all over the country. Peter Vidmar isn't here. He's been in Bucharest at the Student World Games. Phil Cahoy and Jimmy Hartung from Nebraska are not here. They were both injured at the championships of the U.S. Well, I'll tell you one guy who is here. That's my sidekick, former world champion Kurt Thomas. Kurt, what about the athletes that are here?
Well, I'll tell you, as far as big names, we have Ron Gallimore, a very explosive performer, and he was a 1980 Olympic team member. Not able to go, but he's here. We also have Chris Riegel, who's a little dynamo on the floor exercise, and he won the first sports festival on floor exercise. And then we have Mark Casso, who has overcome a very serious neck injury, and he'll be performing today.
The gymnasts have finished 4 of the 6 events and are now in the 5th rotation. Standings have changed considerably with one exception. Brian Meeker has led right from the first rotation. You see Tim Daggett of Springfield, Massachusetts, getting ready to perform on the horizontal bar. At this moment in the competition, he is in 5th place. Tim is 19 years old. He's a sophomore at UCLA.
Gordon, I haven't seen anyone attack the high bar quite like this man. He does a release move that's about 5 feet above the bar. It's a flyaway with a half, regrasp, and he really goes after it. So this should be an exciting routine.
Did you ever see any of your own tape?
Come on, Sam.
Pardon me? You attacked that bar pretty good.
Well, I had to. I had to get myself around it. But this guy really goes after it. Let's watch.
All right, this is Tim Daggett.
This is now he does a stem to an immediate inside stalder. Right here he does a flyaway half. Look how high he is. Ooh, grabs that bar. No form deduction. Right to a cut stalder. Another front stalder to a cow hop. Changes his hand. And here's his requirement on high bar. Does inverted giant. Stretch body position to a hop pirouette. Nice stalder. Extremely good and flexible. Dismount. Does a laid out full end.
And you're dead right. He does attack the bar. That's Tim Daggett from UCLA. All right, here's the beginning again. Let's watch it, Kurt.
Okay, he's got a really pretty basic mount. He does a stem to a handstand, but then he drops right into an immediate, right here you'll see him stoop in to an immediate inside stalder. Requires a lot of flexibility. Now here comes that release move we talked about. Flyaway half gets a good tap off the bottom, takes it up about 5 feet in the air, lays it out, and really reaches in for it.
Well, Tim Daggett is certainly a force to be contended with.
And that routine should definitely qualify him for the individual finals, which we'll be seeing next week.
Oh, you bet, a 9.65. Ron Gallimore coming up on parallel bars. He began the meet in floor exercise, and frankly, that's one of his better events. Had a terrible start, ended the first rotation in 10th place. Well, he vaulted in the 4th rotation, and he's one of the best vaulters in the world. Kurt Thomas and I looked at it. Here's how we saw it. Well, there you see Ron Gallimore, probably the finest vaulter this country has ever had, preparing himself both physically and mentally for his effort in vaulting here at the Summer Sports Festival. He's won 3 straight National Collegiate Athletic Association vaulting championships. Judges are willing to give him a 9-8 and just leave the room.
I'm curious to see what he's going to throw here, Gordon, because he's a little behind and he's got to really score. So he might just play it cool and do a Sukahara in a layout position, which will give him that score, but he normally throws it with a full twist.
And watch the elevation he gets off the horse. Oh my, it is just awesome.
Look how he attacks the horse. Look how he attacks the run. Big push, did the fall.
Nice landing. Oh, what do you think?
That'll go 9-8.
I'll tell you, he's needed a good effort in this competition. He really has.
Well, I'm sure he's pleased with that.
Well, Kurt, here it comes in replay.
Okay, watch this approach onto the horse. He really gets his hand real quick onto the horse, gets a dynamic push, tight form through the air, and look at him looking right for that mat, right for that landing. Super. Little hop back, that'll cost him maybe a tenth or two.
Well, that 9.8 still stands as the highest score in the competition so far, and did, in fact, move him up to 3rd place in the all-around. He's a fine competitor, and now he's making a run at the leaders. He's done this before. Let's hope he can pull it off. We'll see.
He's going to have to cook here. Wow, he had some difficulty right there on his peach mount. Fell on the bar. That's going to cost him about 3/10 of a deduction. There's a stutz, a little short. There's a cast, back up rise, front catch to a cut catch L. Press to a handstand. Ron has been having some difficulties here in this meet. The back toss. Again. He's cut it under early. There's another half turn to a handstand. And his double back.
Well, he'll honestly have a very good chance of getting his 8.6 to take the lead, but it really won't make a lot of difference.
It won't.
After all, the big guns haven't come up yet.
And you can see there, he's pretty disappointed.
Oh, 8.45, and that puts him out. We'll be back.
The bars, and now watch, he'll do a stutz to a handstand. He should get about 2/10 back on risk for that. Cast support to a swing pirouette. There's a back toss and a stutz to a handstand. A little over there. Took a couple hand steps. Going to cost him. The pirouette, rushing his routine quite a bit, and his double. A little over rotation.
Oh, it's a little bit shaky, isn't it, Kurt?
Yeah, they should hit him for that. Okay, here's where he's a little over. Took a couple hand steps, but got it back into control. Shouldn't have moved back there. The front uprise. Here's his dismount. He gets a little rushed, a little under-rotated on the front uprise. And there's his double.
Well, Brian Babcock, 8.85, will have difficulty staying in second place with that score.
Well, that's unfortunate because that's one of Babcock's better events.
Well, this is Brian Meeker, 21 years old, senior at the University of Minnesota, the most consistent gymnast in the meet so far. In fact, has a commanding lead at this point.
Well, let's see what happens on pommels. Oh, a little deduction there on his mount. Here's his Bailey. Got a little far forward there. Touched the horse with his foot. That should cost him about 3/10. Another touch there on the end. Breaking into flares. Traveling up. Reverse scissor. Couple front scissors. Swinging a little loose here. Scissor with a full. Pick up back into circles. Travel down for his dismount. He's brushing the horse quite a bit.
Well, Kurt, if this were a rodeo, the horse would definitely have won. Brian Meeker having great difficulty. Let's take a look at slow motion.
Well, here's where he got forward on that Bailey. Gets forward here, touches the horse, pulled it out quite well, but still, that's a 3/10 deduction. He's a little loose in his circles, as you can see. And right here, he hits the horse on the other end, just a little bit. But I must admit, he's holding on.
Well, Brian Meeker, not happy with his routine, I'm sure. And his score, 8.55. Not a good score, probably will still keep him in the lead. Well, the athletes are moving to the various events for the 6th rotation, and we'll update you on the standings in a moment. And while we have a moment, Mark Costo, a young man who grew up here in Syracuse and has become a local hero, performed in the opening ceremonies to a tremendous ovation. Why? Because Mark Costo is a miracle. About 18 months ago, he actually fractured his neck while training. I talked with him earlier about that fractured neck. Mark, January of 1980, great trauma in your life. You broke your neck while training at UCLA. What was your immediate sensation?
My immediate sensation was, am I going to be all right? I mean, I had paralysis at first, and I thought, wow, I really screwed up things now. But by the time I got to the hospital and everything, about a half hour maybe or so, the paralysis was all gone, and I was paralyzed from here down.
What move did you attempt when you broke your neck?
1.5 twisting, 1 and 3 on floor.
The move that Kurt Thomas used in the World Championships, yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you in therapy?
Well, let's see. I was in the hospital for maybe 2 months, and I went through traction, and I had an operation. They fused my C5, C6 vertebrae, and I wired them all together, and I went through a series of braces, and here I am.
Well, tell me this. When you're performing in gymnastics now, training or competing, does that ever come back to you? Do you have any problems? Do you get spooked?
Well, some days I don't know, I don't feel too good, and Coach knows, I talk with Coach and stuff, and it's mostly in practice, never in meets. I have nightmares once in a while, but...
Well, you're touted as one of the favorites here. How do you feel about that?
feel pretty good being my hometown. It's going to be exciting. First time I've been here in 2 years.
Have a good one, huh?
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Wow, that was intense. Well, now let's look at Mark's most outstanding performance in this competition, his vault. He does a Sukahara with a full twist in a pike position, and that's just incredible. To be able to throw your body up there and do the kind of things he's doing after that injury.
And we'll be back for the final rotation in just a moment. Chris Riegel, at the age of 13, won the first Festival Floor Exercise Championship. He also has the second highest apparatus score in this meet so far. Let's take a look at that vault.
And watch this. He gets really nice pre-flight, straight legs off the horse. He does a handspring front in a pike position to a super landing. Boy, it's a great vault.
And the score was a 9.75 on the vault. Now here's Chrissy trying to become the floor exercise champion again.
He does a front step out through to a full end back out. Puts his hands down for a minor deduction. But look at the difficulty this guy has. There's a full twisting dive roll there. Punch front 1 1/4 here. Very explosive. He's got one of the most difficult routines in this whole competition. Very stylish there.
His attitude is really coming on, too. He's looking at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympic Games and thinking that that might be the point where he'll terminate his career. He's only 16 now. I can't believe it.
He's right on target. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and this guy really knows how to compete. He's had a little difficulty in this competition, but that's okay. He's still young. Here's a triple full. 3 twists in the air.
Oh, what a tough way to sort of cap off your routine. Not the dismount for sure, but late in the routine to throw a triple full is incredible.
That's right. And now here is his dismount. He does a double back in a tuck position. Oh, it gets a little under-rotated. Ooh, that hurt the ankle. Hurt the ankle.
Well, after a fine start, the routine sort of tailed off on him, but Chris Riegel is still setting his sights well down the road.
So let's take a slow motion look at his final 2 tumbling passes. His first pass is a triple full. He does 3 twists in the air and 1 somersault. There's 1, 2, 3. Gets a little bit too much rotation and causes him to sit down. But the difficulty involved there is tremendous. Now he does a small corner transition, which will prepare him for his final tumbling run, which is a double back. Now that's 2 somersaults in the air in a tuck position. And Chris gets a little too eager to open up here, and it causes him to come up short and hurt his ankle. Right there he opens up, comes up short, puts his hands down for about a 5/10 deduction. And that hurts the ankle.
Well, Chrissy Riegel, I'm sure, is disappointed with the finale. And there's his score. Yes, a disappointing 8.65 for Chris Riegel, and you can forget him in the top of the standings. Brian Meeker, the leader, since the second rotation, has had only 1 week exercise in the entire competition, that on the pommel horse. Now he has only 1 more routine to complete, this on the ring. Brian, 21-year-old senior from the University of Minnesota.
And Gordon, you said it. He's been very consistent in this competition, and that's the reason he's the leader. This is a good event for him to end on because he's strong in his shoulders. He has good handstands, and let's see what happens. He does kip swing handstand, immediate fallout to a back upright handstand. Good position there. There's a whip it through to a straddle L. Not much swing on the ring. There's his strength move. It's called a straddle planche. Drop right through to a kip. And now all he has is a press to a handstand and a dismount. Okay, he's pushing out, keeping a nice straight handstand. There's his high dislocate through to a half in, half out. Looking good so far, and I think he did it.
Well, Brian Meeker has to be happy with himself on a day when most of the contenders have found some way to beat themselves. Daggett lost it in the floor exercise. Gallimore lost it in parallel bars.
Now let's watch his dismount again. Does a high dislocate, pulls right through to a half in, half out, which is a half twist on the first somersault, half twist on the second somersault.
It's been a good day for this young man, Brian Meeker. Being congratulated by his peers, smiling, happy, knowing now that he has the championship pretty well wrapped up. And a score, a 9.2.
Oh, I tell you, he has to be happy with that because this is a major breakthrough in the all-around to win this competition.
And we'll be back for the final results in a moment. all-around winners of the National Sports Festival. Brian Meeker, the champion, followed by Brian Babcock and Tim Daggett. Got to be a tremendous breakthrough for all three of these men to have made it onto the national scene after the years they'd spent in competition. These three gymnasts, as well as Ron Gallimore, 16-year-old Chris Riegel, and Mark Cosso, and many others, can be seen again next Sunday when Kurt and I come to cover the championships for the individual events. And Roy Palasu finishing in fourth, and the amazing Mark Cosso recovering from a broken neck to come back and finish well enough in the final rotation to end up in fifth place. For team competition, the athletes are divided into sectional teams.